Hello, everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, as per your respective time zone. On behalf of entire Evosys Managed Services team, we'd like to welcome you all to 22B Workforce Management and Global Payroll Advisory webinar session. This important session is to keep you fully synchronized with the new features and functionalities as a part of this quarter release which Oracle provides. My name is Hardik Patel, and I'm an Operations Manager here at Evosys Managed Services Department. Today, I'm your host for this session, and I'm glad to introduce my colleague Kaustav Ray, who is part of our vast HCM team at Evosys. Today, he will take us through all the workforce management and global payroll updates for 22B quarter release. Today's session is planned for around 45 minutes, and we'll make sure that we also leave some time to answer all your questions you may have. We have experts with us. You can ask questions through chat or questions panel, and they'll be happy to answer during the session and by the end of the session at the Q&A as well. Before we move to the today's agenda, let's have a quick look at the important disclaimer here. We would like to convey you our approach towards Oracle updates in a very simpler method. We'll be taking you through vital analyses for the 22B updates done by our experts, which will help you incorporating new features and updates easily into your system. We'll also sync you on any bugs or known issues if there are any. It's good to have an interactive session, so please do ask any questions you may have through chat or questions panel, as mentioned earlier, and we'll try and answer them with the help of our HCM expert during the session and at the end of the session as well. If you need to connect to us at a later stage, you can reach out to the project managers as well, and we can have one-to-one session as well. That can be arranged without fail. This is to give you a glimpse on how we have crafted the structure of this session. So first thing what you see is a list of new features coming into 22B. Then detailing on features, so you get brief understanding on what new features are all about. Next one is what are the business benefits and important key takeaways for you as a decision maker. There are 4 components where we have done in-depth analysis of features which we're going to present to you today. The first one is impact level analysis, which demonstrates the impact on end user. If it's a low impact, then regression testing can be avoided or not. If it's a high impact, then we need to opt for regression testing. The second one, which is we all are aware that there are some features which are by default auto-enabled by Oracle. There are some which we need to opt for. And the third one, which highlights the nature of the feature. There would be certain configurations which may be required and some can be used without any changes. And the last one, which is a quick win. This term which we use to simply convey that what is ready to use by investing minimum amount of time and what requires minimum amount of time and efforts to make use of this feature. Before I hand it over to my colleague, with the help of quick poll, we would like to quickly know that which industry your organization belongs to. So you can see the question in the poll, and with that, would like to know that which industry does your organization belong to. This will help us creating more fruitful webinar content going forward. Thank you so much for the polls. We'll close the poll and immediately I'll be handing over to my colleague Kaustav, and he'll begin today's session. Kaustav, over to you, and stage is all yours, and there we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Hardik, for the brief introduction. Hello, everybody. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, as per your respective time zones. My name is Kaustav Ray from Human Capital Management team, and I will be taking you all to the quarterly upgrade of 22B for Workforce Management and Payroll module. So let's me guide you to what's in store for us in this 22B release. Today, we are not only going to look at the features, but also try to understand them so that we can align them with our business needs and practices. Before we deep dive into each individual feature, let's quickly go through a quick analysis on the different updates that Oracle has brought to this module. In total, there are 23 features in this 22B release. We have categorized all the set of new features in two columns. In the first column, we have default updates. There are 18 default updates that requires no additional efforts from the end user to incorporate it into their present business projects. Out of these 18 features, we have recognized 17 as quick wins. Quick wins are an in-house parameter through which we segregate the feature which requires minimal time for both the parties to make use of the feature. In the next column, we have opt-in features. These features are presented to us as optional and can be activated for the end users based on the business requirement. Out of the 5 opt-in features, 3 have been classified as quick wins and 2 rest. So this will be our flow for today. We will begin with the first set of features that has been identified as quick wins that require no additional configuration. Followed by in the list we have opt-in features which have been also identified as quick wins but can be used at the discretion of the business users. Thirdly, we are going to look at the set of features that have been classified as rest, that is, they do not qualify as quick wins. And the last one, we are going to look at the list of known issues which have been identified by Oracle. So without any delay, let's quickly get us look at the quick wins that require no additional configuration. The first feature that we have on the list is from Absence Management module, multiple assignment support for leave agreement. So previously, Oracle supported leave agreement for adoption, maternity, and paternity leave for single assignment employees only. Through this enhancement, Oracle has now introduced leave agreement support for multiple assignments. Using this feature, we can now allocate and adjust entitlement belonging to different assignments using a single leave agreement. This functionality doesn't require absence to be entered by assignments. Thus, absence will be broken down against each active assignment once we click the Evaluate Absence button. If an assignment isn't included in the agreement, the application will display an error for the absence. Using this enhancement, we can manage an employee's leave entitlement more efficiently. This enhancement has an impact level low and thus rigorous testing is not required. The next feature that we are going to look at is from Time and Labor module. Generate time card enhancement. Using this enhancement, Time and Labor Manager can schedule, generate time card process and recurring generate time card process without any limitation on the number of people included. The process generates the time card for the time card period such as the period intersecting the specific date, the current period and the next period. The current period and the next period are determined from the system when a process runs. We can schedule this recurring generate time card process with either of these parameters. This enhancement makes it easier for Time and Labor Manager to generate appropriate time card for the people they support. This again has an impact level of low and no need to enable and configuration is not required. Next we have is responsive time card enhancement. This enhancement is also from Time and Labor module. Through this enhancement, level 1 managers will have the filter to see time card where they are assigned approvers and also their direct reports. They can select more than one time card at once and approve or reject them. So let us see the example which have been provided by Oracle. So here Oracle has given us the functionality to select multiple employees at once and approve or reject them at once. But if you want to see more detailed information of any employee, you can click on the employee and see the detailed information and also approve and reject from that screen itself. If you are a level 2 manager, the approval in your hierarchy for the second level subordinates, you have to open each time card singly and approve or reject it individually. Here, Oracle has not given us the functionality to approve or reject all time cards at once. But this enhancement makes it easier for the approval process of the time card more efficient and faster. Again, this has an impact level low and configuration and need to enable is not required. Next we have on the list is an enhancement from Global Payroll module. Update employees payroll during change assignment transaction. We often do multiple changes in the employee's assignment at all the time. Through this enhancement, it will allow us to update the employee's payroll when we, when we are updating their assignment. For example, if we transfer an employee from an old department to a new department, as a result, there should be a change in the payroll as well from weekly to a monthly payroll. We can capture this new payroll as a part of change assignment transaction itself. We can also update the payroll assignment info such as time card required for the overtime period. If the assignment doesn't have the assigned payroll already, we can create one. If the assignment has an assigned payroll, we can either edit the current payroll frequency or transfer it to a new one. With this feature, we can make all the relevant changes in a single change assignment transaction and thus no longer need to perform separate transactions to change assignment and payroll data. Oracle has also stated that this payroll region enhancement will be added to other assignment transactions such as promote, change location, and similar action in subsequent releases. Again, this has an impact level low, and both need to enable and configuration is not required. Next, we have is copy future dated changes during global transfer. This enhancement is also from Global Payroll module. Prior to this release, only payroll information that is effective as of the global transfer date could be copied. But now we can copy future dated changes and preserve end dates on the payroll object that is being copied. For example, on recurring element entries with an end date after the global transfer date. If we choose to copy the element entry as of the global transfer date, the end date will also be copied. This is available on both local and global transfer flow, as well as mass change legal employer flow. Through this enhancement, manual effort of copying future dated payroll information from the source to the target legal employer will be reduced. This feature has been classified as an impact level high and thus requires rigorous testing before making use of this feature. Again, configuration and need to enable is not required. Next, we have is calculate a rate using multiple values defined by criteria. This is a very good enhancement that Oracle has brought up for global payroll module. We can now calculate a rate using a value defined by criteria, which refers to another value defined by criteria. The list of supported calculation type on the value defined by criteria is updated to enable us to select another value defined by criteria when we create a new value. Let's take an example to understand this feature better. Let's say we have already two value defined by criteria such as standard allowance rates and special allowance rate, which contains the rate of car allowance and home allowance. We can now create a third value defined by criteria based on a condition that indicates whether the standard allowance rates or the special allowance rate will be applicable. Let's take an example condition that the employee on which TRO it belongs, the condition will be according to that. So if the employee belongs to TRU 1, the standard allowance rate will be applicable. And if the employee belongs to TRU 2, the special allowance rate will be applicable. So this kind of dynamic calculation can be easily achieved using this new enhancement. Again, this has an impact level low and both configuration and need to enable is not required. Next, we have view employee retroactive pay results. This is a very good and useful feature that Oracle has brought this time. This feature also belongs to Global Payroll module. Oracle, through this enhancement, has enabled the option to view calculated results of the Retropay process and easily compare it against the original payroll run result from the Retro process. In the Retropay results section of the result details page, we can see the difference the recalculate payroll for retroactive changes calculated between the original payroll run and the payroll run after the retroactive changes. Let's look at the example provided in the screenshot. Here we can see the result calculated a difference of 2000. With the expanded process region, we can see a side-by-side comparison of the original payroll run and the Retropay run. We can also switch to the process viewer to navigate from one person process result to the another. The data item in the list uh, written as the retro run identifier is only a data item. In this scenario, the original payroll run ran on 31st January and the retro run identifier is blank. When the recalculate payroll for retroactive changes ran on 28th of February, it quits off calculate payroll process for the recalculate payroll as of 31st January with the exact same parameters and the original payroll run, and easily compares with the original result. The retro run identifier for this is same for the calculate payroll as well as the recalculate payroll for retroactive changes. This will help us to identify against which retro process the calculate payroll has been processed. This retro identifier is only a data item used to identify the calculate payroll that is being used to determine the net retro pay amounts. Again, this has an impact level low and both need to enable and configuration is not required. Next, again from global payroll, we have performance improvement to the payroll costing process. After this enhancement, we can create an index for the costing key flexible segments to improve the payroll costing performance when there are large number of costing key flexible segments combination to process. By running the run feature upgrade flow with a feature name, we will be able to create an index on the costing key flexible segments. If there are multiple costing structures in the organization, the process considers all the combination and creates an index based on the most uses of the column and also deletes any existing index if it determines the index is no longer applicable. The log file will be generated which will show the changes that has made to the index. Again, need to enable and configuration is not required and impact level is also low. Next, we have an enhancement from global payroll module. Run periodic payroll register report. This report produces the same output as the run periodic register report, but it runs faster for the same dataset, especially when the data volume is high. This new report has been configured to show month to date, period to date, quarter to date balance, and also inception to date balance. The new report uses a much lighter report template with enhanced performance and scalability capabilities to handle high volumes of data. The report produces a CSV or text output which can be easily imported into an Excel format. This again has an impact level low and need to enable and configuration is not required. Next, we have an enhancement from UK Payroll, Pension Automatic Enrolment Enhancement. This is a much awaited feature. Most of the clients in UK have been facing a common issue of backdated opt-out. Oracle, through this update, has given us a new parameter to process outstanding action from previous pay reference period while running the PE multiple update process. Using this enhanced PE multiple update process, Oracle now supports positive offset payroll pay reference period as well as it supports opt-outs and leavers in the previous pay reference period. Except backdated transfer, this supports all the self-service options where the employee joins or leaves before or after the cutoff date. Again, this has an impact level low and both need to enable and configuration is not required. Next, we have is configure backdated pay awards for teachers' pension. This configure backdated pay award teacher enhancement can be used to calculate the MCR contribution using the when pay method. We can identify the backdated pay award salary action by associating them with a predefined pay award action reason. When a retroactive calculation is performed and the action reason for the salary increase is pay award, any arrears calculated are excluded when calculating the contribution tier. Again, this has an impact level of low and need to enable and configuration is not required. Next feature that we are going to look at is temporary national insurance number for teachers' pension. Again, this feature is related to UK payroll. Till now, if an employee doesn't have an NI number, we receive error in the MCR report. But now we can record a 9-digit temporary NI number for reporting in the MCR report. This number is issued by teachers' pension to workers who either don't have or don't know their national insurance number. The teachers' pension NI number, temporary NI number field, will be available at the person legislative information level. Using this temporary NI number, we can comply with the teachers' pension requirement for reporting members without a permanent NI number. Next, we have is reporting local authority central staff in England school workforce census. This enhancement is related to UK payroll, but only applicable to UK central government clients. Using this enhancement, we can now easily identify local authority central staff using the LA Central Establishment checkbox recorded at the reporting establishment level. We can generate their census, summary, and validation report for all those central staff. Again, this has an impact level low, and both need to enable and configuration is not required. Next feature that we are going to look at is benefits and pension integration, print option, and historical enrollments. Employee using this new employee self-service feature can view their historic enrollments data and also use the print option to print the relevant data. They can navigate to My Pension area and use the print option enabled to view their enrollments information in the benefit report. If no pension enrollment exists for the employee, they can still view their other benefits and also print them. This again has an impact level of low. Need to enable configuration is not required. Next, we have enhancement to MyCSP reporting to provide year-end 5-day PIP report. Again, this enhancement is related to UK payroll, but only applicable to UK central government clients. The UK central government clients are required to report end-of-year pension data to MyCSP. This is a cross-government requirement and includes earnings and pension contribution for the period 1st of April to the 5th of April, known as the pension input period. Earlier, this 1st of April to 5th of April period was not reported since the tax year began on 6th of April. So with this new enhancement, we can report the contribution from 1st of April to the 5th of April using this new PIP report. We can use this enhanced CSP interface process to generate the MyCSP year-end 5-day PIP report in a .csv format. The structure of this .csv is also aligned with the manual spreadsheet column layout to simplify the task. You can copy the contents of this report into the MyCSP manual spreadsheet easily. This again has an impact level of low, and both need to enable and configuration is not required. Next, we have a feature from US payroll. Creditor depth, garnishment, and regional tax levy, involuntary deduction processing enhancement. In US, some states have the rules that restrict the processing of a person's involuntary deduction to one deduction of a given type as per the state per payroll period. To overcome this problem and achieve this requirement, earlier we had to manually adjust the involuntary deduction when there were multiple creditor depth, garnishment, and regional DB kind of deduction added to an employee. But now Oracle has enhanced the state-specific rules that controls the processing order of a person's involuntary deduction. With this enhancement, once the current involuntary deduction is satisfied, on the next pay cycle, the payroll process automatically starts the next involuntary deduction of that type based on the element sub-processing order. To determine if the deduction is satisfied or not, criteria such as deduction is end-dated, time limit is met, total owed is reached is looked for. Currently, this applies to involuntary deduction type elements with creditor depth, garnishment, or regional tax levy secondary classifications only. This again has an impact level low, need to enable, and configuration is not required. Next, we have 403B and 457B deduction enhancement for multiple assignment. This feature is also for US payroll. Oracle earlier didn't support proportional deduction for multiple assignment employees in case of 403B and 457B deductions. If an employee had multiple assignments, the deduction had to be manually calculated and added for processing. But with this enhancement, Oracle has improved the accuracy for processing of 403B and 457B deduction. For employees with multiple assignments in a single payroll relationship, their flat amount and percentage deduction are now calculated proportionally for the applicable assignments. This applies to payroll relationship regardless of whether the assignments are in the same or different TRUs. When the payroll relationship has all assignment or no assignment association to the calculation component, the payroll process considers all assignments earning and calculates proportionally. When the relationship has some but not all the assignments associated, the process considers only those assignments earning for the deduction calculation. The next in line, we are going to look at the list of features that has been classified as opt-in. New responsive availability calendar. This enhancement is from absence module. This enhancement will allow the manager to check an employee's availability and absence information. All this information will be visible in the calendar. There are 4 different views which are available, that is monthly, weekly, daily, and list. We can use filter to see only the relevant information we want to see in the calendar. Let's take an example for we want to see information only related to work shift and not public holidays. So if we click the work shift filter, we will be only able to see work shift related information in the calendar. If an employee has multiple assignments, we can select the business title option to choose the assignment for which we want to see their absence information. Meanwhile, the manager can see the absence information of their direct report only for those assignments they have access to. This new calendar is view only, and any kind of transaction such as recording absence or anything is not supported. This has an impact level low, and to enable this feature, we have to set a profile option to yes and add some privileges to the worker and the line manager role. Next, we have is project costing validation for time cut entries enhancement. Previously, all project costing entries were validated regardless whether they had changed or not. But now we can validate only new or change time card entries for project costing when we resubmit time cards. This enhancement lets us more easily edit time card entries for open projects and revalidate time card containing both open and closed project costing entries. This enhancement is also from time and labor module and has been classified as an impact level high due to multiple module effect. So a rigorous testing should be done before making use of this feature. To enable this feature, we again have to enable a profile option and do some configuration changes as well. Next, we have is send P45 through email. After this enhancement, we can save time, paper, and postage costs by sending P45 securely to an individual designated email address. This feature is only applicable for UK specific clients. You can use the email delivery option once the relevant configuration change and delivery parameters are set up for the P45 archive process. A PDF document will be attached to the email with the relevant subject title and the message which has been configured within the email body. This again has an impact level low, but to use this feature, we have to do some configuration change as well. The next in line, we have the list of features that has been classified as REST. Process absence when employee data changes. This enhancement is from absence module. As we already know, global absence use HCM events to respond to certain core HR transactions as they happen. For instance, employee when hired are enrolled into the relevant absence plan automatically. Likewise, they are unenrolled from the plan if required automatically. We now have the ability to configure such events so that we can track them and specify what actions need to be taken by an absence plan when that event occurs. This will give us the ability to configure absence plan to reprocess enrollment and recalculate accruals automatically when an employee's data changes across HCM. You can manage all in one process instead of managing multiple processes. This again has an impact level as high and need to enable is no and configuration is required. Next, we have an enhancement from time and labor module. Data security policy for time card management. Oracle, through this enhancement, has given us the flexibility to apply a data security policy dedicated to time and labor for time card management. Let's take an example to understand it better. For example, if you have someone who is both a time and labor manager and an HR manager, the person manages time card for one group of people, and for another separate group of people, the person provides HR support. The new time card data security policy limits the person's time card access to only the group that the person manages time card for. The person can't see the time card of the other group he provides HR management support. The new data security policy applies to the pages as shown: the overview, team type cards, general time cards, and so on. This enhancement limits the time card access to people with multiple roles. It improves performance while searching and selecting a person to create a classic time card. Again, this has an impact level high, so a rigorous testing should be done before making use of this feature. Adjust multiple tax balance for third-party payments. This feature is also from US Payroll. This is a much awaited feature. Previously, we could update one tax balance for one person at a time to manage individual balance tasks. Alternatively, we had to use HSDL to update multiple balance for multiple people at once. But with this enhancement, Oracle has come up with a new task called Adjust Multiple Tax Balance. We can use all this task to enter all person and balance adjustment details and review and submit through a single page, and the system automatically decides which balance and dimension to update. Moving on, let us look at the known issue which have been identified by Oracle. The first one which we have is absence OTBI subject area hides certain absence for multiple assignment employees. So if an employee records a person level absence in advanced mode, the line manager might not be able to see it in any OTBI report. Thus, Oracle recommends that we only raise assignment level absence from advanced mode, and for rest case, use basic mode. Next, we have HCM calendar can't display overlapping resource exception. So if we are assigning multiple overlapping resource to an employee at the same level, the calendar will not show those exceptions correctly. At this point in time, Oracle has stated that there should not be any business reason as to why such these requirement will be there, and hence no workaround or fix is there for the moment. Next, individual can view all of their responsive time card. So let us assume that the OTL setup is such that the future dated time cards are not allowed to be populated by the user, but responsive page would still allow that. There is no workaround at the moment, but Oracle has suggested that if any customers have any related concerns, they can raise an Oracle SR and request for enhancement. Next issue that we are going to look at is task iteration status. So if we have submitted a particular flow and then rolled it back, sometimes the screen shows the task as complete rather than the corrected process. There is no workaround or fix at this moment. So Oracle in this case is recommending to re-navigate, that is go back to the home page and then navigate to view flows again to check the correct status of the task. Next we have this automatic element entries issue using worker HCM data loader. So if we hire employee using HDL, the elements which have been configured as automatic entries are not generated. Oracle has suggested that in one of its future releases, they will provide an enhancement so that the automatic element entries do get created for such scenarios. Next, incorrect warning message appears during duplicate bank account entry. When an employee adds a bank account which already exists in Fusion system should give a warning message. System gives a warning message as to if you want to become a joint owner of that account. That's ideally an incorrect warning message. It should give an error. I so currently there is no fix or workaround at the moment, but informing the user to avoid doing such transaction is the only option available. Next issue we have is data loaded task result. When we run HDL related flows such as initiate data loader, the process result does not show all the results that have been processed. As a workaround, Oracle has suggested to view the result from view flows page. Next, we have a submit related flow with error or correction. So ideally, when the flow has gone into error, the action button shows you some action that you can perform on a particular flow. Sometimes it shows you to submit a related flow, which is an incorrect action because the current flow has already gone into error. Oracle has recommended user not to submit related flows that is in error status. Next issue that we have is not able to create events during using cost allocation DEO. Currently, the cost allocation object is not proratable or retroactive. There is no workaround at the moment, but Oracle has stated that in one of its coming releases, the fix will be applied. Next, we have this payroll global transfer business object usability in autocomplete. Currently, when we use payroll global transfer business object, it shows us certain attributes that should ideally be hidden. So Oracle has recommended not to use this business object until a fix is being delivered to hide those attributes. And the last, we have responsive professional payslip page smart nav issue. So when we navigate to the payslip screen from my client group and payroll work area, the smart nav does not show us any payroll task. To navigate to another payroll task, we have to go back to home page and re-navigate to the payroll work area. There is no workaround or fix at this moment, so the only way to achieve is to re-navigate. All the known issues which have been identified are existing since the previous release. So that is all for the quarterly upgrade of 22B for Workforce Management and Payroll module. Handing over back to you, Hardik. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, Costa, thank you, and thank you for the wonderful insights. Before we move to the Q&A, we would quickly like to note down your area of interest with the help of quick poll, so that we can craft more value-based webinar. So on the scale, we have technology innovations, managed services, value-based analytics, which is helping lots and lots of our customers to accelerate their business, cloud transformation. If you have any specific question, you can reach out to the project managers or the team leaders of the respective competency, or if you're not an Evosys customer, you can also write to us on business@evosysglobal.com. So thank you, everyone. We'll be closing the poll, and then we'll see if we have any questions there. So let's look at the question panels, or Vidya, if you can unmute yourself and let us know if there's any questions, or it's all been answered during the chat only.
Hi, Hardik. Yes, there were 2 questions and we answered them in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. And so if you have still any questions, you can ask us before we close the session. But just to keep you informed that we have upcoming sessions today for the finance one in a few minutes time. Also, we have HR and help desk coming in, supply chain, talent management, benefits and compensation, and specific PPM session as well. So anyone would like to reserve, please look out for the link in your inbox, and you can register to be part of the upcoming sessions. Also, we'd like to keep you fully informed that we'll be sending you a link in in a few days' time, and we'll keep you fully synchronized with all the recordings, all the PDF presentations on the single page, along with the test scripts as well. So from the one page, you can also bookmark it. You'll also find 22A, 22B, everything under a single pager. So wherein you'll see the YouTube link where you'll find the recording videos of this session along with the test scripts again repeating, and the PDF presentation PDF. So with this, we would like to thank you all. And before you all leave, it's just the last question that how we did today on the scale of 1 to 5. I'm launching the poll, and if you can please let us know how we did today so that we can improve it going forward. And once again, we'd like to thank you everyone for sparing today's time. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to the project managers or the team leaders, and we'll be more than happy to help you or to take a one-to-one session. Thank you so much once again. Thank you.